There's a beautiful moon again, you all. It looks so pretty. I wish I had a telescope. I used to have one that I got from my younger son. And we would like look outside with all the neighborhood kids. Well, when we lived at the old apartment anyway. And okay, we're not supposed to swear, but I promise you all, we would see stars moving. We thought they were satellites, and they were like, no, they're UFOs. It was really exciting back then. I had them all looking through the little telescope. And then I have no idea what happened to it. I'm assuming that my older son sold it back then, when he was going through his thing. And I never got another one. I would like to, though. But nowadays, people look at you weird if you're just looking at the sky. I don't know why. Like, what's so weird about it? I need to invest in a really good one. Okay. There we go. Yeah, tonight, nobody was on live. This man that I usually watch, he came on live really early, like at 3 o'clock, and I'm like, what? He comes out at all kinds of times, and at one time he was coming on at 5 o'clock in the morning. So by the time I would wake up, he was already like done. And then today, other days he was coming on at 4, and then 8 o'clock in the morning. And then today, for some reason, he came on at 3, and I was like, oh man. So by the time I started exercising, he was already done. I like to listen to him while I exercise. He was already done, so I was like, great. I'll probably replay tonight when I go to bed. Before I go to bed. He was only on for like an hour and a half, though. No. That was the other day. That was yesterday. There was a day he was on like for 4 hours. And so was this other guy that I watch. Anyway, are there any police officers out tonight like last night? Nope. I don't see any so far. Oh, I was gonna turn. All these people coming out from the Gold's Gym, they just they don't even look. They just come out. They just turn into traffic like nothing. Whee! There we go. So, Art, I think if you're asking me, you said something about the woman this morning. If you watch this, is it about the sister wife, or is it I'm calling her the sister wife from the estranged husband, or is it the neighbor? I don't know which one it is, but let me catch you all up on the neighbor. Let me turn this down because it's making me lose my train of thought. She came by about a week ago on a Saturday, and I kept trying to talk about it, and then I wouldn't post the video, and I don't know why. I'm not sure why. So I'll talk about it right now. She came over, and this was before Halloween, which, by the way, it sucks that Halloween's already over. It sucks. But I love Thanksgiving. And anyhow, she stopped by, and we were talking, and I said, look, because she started talking to me immediately about the cat again. I don't know what it is with this lady and the cat, okay? I'm not the cat counselor. I wish she would stop talking to me about the cat. Every time she sees me, oh, the cat and the cat. I'm like, do I remind you of this cat or what? You know, like, why did you keep talking to me about the cat? So anyway, she finally decided she wasn't going to try to adopt her because she didn't want to have her outside. Her dog, remember, is highly allergic. So she didn't want to have her outside unless she finds a house. She'll go ahead and adopt it. However, she did say that if they don't get her adopted before they send her to another facility, she'll go ahead and take her, but she'll have to keep her outside. So, you know, it's just, it's craziness with her. And then I said, look, I need to ask you something. You know, I heard something about you. It was very unsettling to me. And I just need to hear your side. I like to hear both sides of the story, you know? I don't like to just make up my mind about someone or something just because one person tells me something, you know? So she's like, sure. And she's very calm, very open to it. So I was like, look, somebody came up to me and they told me that you were seeing somebody that lived here that was married, and then you broke up that marriage, and then you were after somebody else's husband. So that's basically what I'm asking, if it's true or not. And then she's like, no. She's like, okay, well, maybe they thought I was seeing somebody that was married because somebody used to live in this apartment. Well, his mother lived there, and she was elderly, and he would come visit her, and that's how we met. And then she passed away from natural causes, and he couldn't get into her apartment, and so he wanted me to try to get a hold of the landlady. So I got a hold of her, and he told her that he was going to break the window to get in the house because his mom wasn't answering, and he was like worried about her. And so the lady said, okay, do it, you know. And so he got in, and that's how he found his mother. He found out that his mother had passed away, and then he ended up moving in there for a while. And while he was living there, he was already divorcing his wife. He was separated. Now, was that divorce ever finalized? I do not know, but he was separated, and she was dating him, my neighbor, right? After that, she didn't continue that relationship with him because she said that he was real narcissistic. He was really into himself and everything, and they just lost touch with each other as well. Like, she didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. And she's like, as far as the other person that they're saying that I was after, he was happily married. You know, they moved out because her father ended up passing away, and they were going to move into his house. So that's why they moved. And the wife is very good friends with her neighbor, with another neighbor that lives there. So it's like everybody kind of knows everybody there, you know. And I'm not sure as to how that came about, this rumor, right, from another neighbor that doesn't like her. But I'm like, I didn't tell her who told me what or what, you know. And I heard it from my daughter-in-law, by the way. I didn't hear it from that one particular neighbor. I heard it from my daughter-in-law, but of course I didn't tell her this. I just told her somebody came up to me, and she wasn't even curious who this somebody is. You know, she just like, no, she explained everything. And then I said, you know what? I remember you telling me about that person, about his mom passing away and how you were dating that person. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and believe you because your story did not change. You know, you stayed true with that story. You told me the same exact story, and now that you're reminding me of it, yeah. And she's like, oh, okay, well, thank you, you know, and thank you for telling me, you know. And I said, well, thank you for clearing it up, you know. I'm glad you did, because I didn't want to have these feelings about you, you know. Anytime you would come by, I didn't want to have these feelings about you, like, oh, I don't want her near me or my family, you know. And she just like giggles. And now Now, there's the one thing about me accepting her story, and there's another thing about me being gullible, right? I am not gullible. I'll accept her story. However, I will proceed with caution, right? I am not gonna like trust her with my husband. That's for sure. After what I just heard. Because, you know, even if a couple is separated, they're married and they're just separated, it could be for a period. It could be that they just need time apart. They need to clear their heads. They need to decide what to do. If they want to like continue in this marriage or just end it altogether. Yo, I'm getting distracted. Look. Is this why I'm distracted? Can you all see that? It's in the palm trees. There it is. Y'all see that? Is that a freaking airplane or what? Like, there, you can see it better now. It is red and green lights. That's gotta be an airplane, right? I know my car is filthy dirty right now, but there, and it's so low. We do have an, okay. We do have an airport nearby. It's gotta be an airplane, right? Okay, stop it, man. I'm just like, I don't know. That's really low, though. I've never seen, well, it would help if I were to keep the camera steady, right? I've never seen an airplane that low. And why do lights keep coming on in here? I don't know. It's gotta be one, right? There it goes. It seems to be getting lower and lower. The airport's not right across the street, mind you. I don't know. So anyway, back to the topic. Okay, I hear it now, so it's gotta be an airplane or a jet or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, when people are separated like that, I would not want to be that person coming into that relationship, because it's still considered a relationship, whether they're together living in one home or living in separate homes. It's still a relationship. It's still a marriage. And if I met somebody that was in that situation, I'd be like, figure things out, and then clear your head, and then look me up. If I'm still available, I will talk to you, you know. If not, oh well, you know, my loss, you know. But no, I'm not going to be seeing you while you are still legally married to your wife. That's me. And I'm sure a lot of you would agree with that as well. Because, you know, 9 times out of 10, couples go through that and they just need that time apart, and they get back together and their marriage ends up stronger than ever. But if you have somebody there, you know, that's going to complicate things. That's just going to drive a wedge between you two. Now you're getting into adultery, you know, and you risk getting a disease from this other person or getting them pregnant. You know, it just ruins everything. So why would you want to do that, right? That's how I feel. But also, what else did I want to say? I got distracted again. Yeah, I just wouldn't want to be that person, you know. Let them figure things out. I don't understand how people could even do that to begin with. How would you be so easily convinced that, oh, he told me he was separated, so they must be separated? You know what I mean? Oh, this was the other thing she told me, is that, and this is what really threw me off, and this is what helped me decide, like, yeah, you're not coming near my husband, ma'am. Hang on, you all. the fact that she said, I don't know why, but married men are always asking me out. I don't know why. Why do they come to me? And I'm looking at her like, are you sure it's just married men that come after you? Or is it you going after the married man? You know, because apparently everybody that you've mentioned is married or separated, you know? She has yet to mention anyone to me that is single. You know, and then I happened to mention the guy next door to me. I said, isn't he single? Like, I mean, yeah, he has 2 kids. And he rarely brings them over here. I think he goes maybe to pick them up and they go somewhere else because maybe they get bored over here. But I know during the holidays he's been bringing them over and they stay at the apartment, you know. And he has a cat as well. I said, so, you know, have you tried talking to him? And she's like, I have. But he doesn't, like, even acknowledge me. I stopped there one time and tried to talk to him, and he kept walking away from me and went inside his apartment. And I was like, interesting. And I found that interesting because he's always trying to talk to me, and I could care less about the guy. You know? He's come up to me asking me stupid random questions about the mail, and I'm like, no, I don't know, I'm not sure, sir, you know, and I'll just go inside. And other times that I've come out to throw the trash, and if he's out there, he'll try to say hi, and I just look the other way like, excuse me, I ain't falling for that. No. I have a husband. Stay away, please. You know, and that's what I mean. Like, I would not. I'm looking for my lip balm because I can feel my lips so dry. It's not even really cold outside, and I'm already getting dry lips, dry skin, ashy legs, everything, you know. There. But that's what I mean. Like, don't open doors like that. Don't, you know. Even if you're like, well, because there's women that have this frame of mind. Well, I'm not the one that got them separated, and he's the one after me, and he's the one asking me out, just like my neighbor, you know. But why do you have to be the one? Why does it have to be you? It doesn't have to be you. Pray for them and move on, sister. Like, there are plenty of fish in the sea. Do not go on Plenty of Fish, though. That dating website. Christian Mingle and Plenty of Fish. Christian Mingle is not for the single. I'll tell you that much. Plenty of Fish is in toxic waters. Those fishes are toxic. Let me tell you. They're piranhas. Do not touch them. How do I know this? I have a family member. She met 2 guys. One on Christian Mingle and one on Plenty of Fish. Christian women, I'm talking to you right now because these women are Christian. My family member's a Christian. Another friend from church who finally got me. I'll get to that in a minute. She was also on Christian Mingle. All the wrong men on there too. Christian women, depend on God, please. Depend on God. Wait on God to pick the man for you. Don't go picking your own man. Do you think that God is saying, hey, why don't you go on Plenty of Fish? You'll find him there. No, God would never say that. Do not hit my door with a guy. I thought you were a girl. Oh my God. I'm sorry, sir. Anyway, no, don't. God's not like, yeah, that's why I created Christian Mingle and Plenty of Fish. No. You know, you all, and I'm not like speaking out of the wrong end of my body here. I was single for years. I'm not kidding you. For years. I had no one. I would go I would go to work or go to school or both, and then come home, take care of my kids, rinse, wash, and repeat all the time. And yeah, it would make me cry sometimes, because I'm like, I would hear, coworkers, friends, acquaintances, family members, they were always going out. Oh, we're going to go to the movies this weekend. Oh, we're going to go to the club. Oh, we're going to go out to eat. Oh, we're going to go to the whatever, the park, the beach, whatever. You all do not know how bad I wanted to be there as well, with somebody that I was in a relationship with. But for some reason, God had me single for a very long time. And I'm not talking about like 2 to 3 years. I'm talking about like 5, 7 years. You're talking about a drought, okay? There was no wheat. There was no water. Nothing. Nada. Zero. And then when I finally met somebody, the estranged husband, But to be fair, I did not go to God with that man. I did not. We tried to make things right after, like by getting married. But I never asked God, is this the right man? Is this the one you want for me? See? But do not go to these sites. My family member, she met somebody that was still married on Christian Mingle. He was, quote unquote, separated. And then he decided to go back with his wife. And he told my family member this. He couldn't see her anymore. I'm going back to the wife. Oh, okay. Now, I know that wasn't her fault. She didn't know. He told her she was separated. However, it kind of is her fault, because, separated, you mean as in divorced, or separated as in you're taking a time out? No, we're taking a time out. Oh, okay, well then see ya. Why are you on a dating site? That was his fault. But it was also her fault for taking the bait. Now, on Plenty of Fish, she's already met 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 guys that were cray-cray. I mean, totally cray-cray. And she's still with that one right now. The last one. Yeah. There are no good guys on these dating apps. There really isn't. Have you all, that reminds me of this movie. Have you all watched the movie Fresh on Hulu? Like, I know, don't come at me. Some of y'all like, I don't have Netflix and I don't have Hulu because of the LGBTQIA whatever plus. I understand that. Fresh, it's kind of gory, by the way. But the only reason I brought it up is because it starts out with a single girl. She's on these dating websites, trying to find a guy. She wants to date. She wants to be in a relationship. The first guy, he's nothing compared to the second guy she meets at a grocery store. But the first guy, he kept reminding her on how she needed to pay for the date. I'm not going to tell you the full detail, but he kept reminding her. He was just a bad date. Bad date. And I've been on one of those. The second guy, that one was a nightmare. Okay, that one, I'm not even going to tell you what happened, but it was a total nightmare. Now, trigger warning, that movie Fresh, it's very interesting, but it is gory, like I said. It does involve cannibalism. And you're like, man, why are you recommending that to us then? Just, if you want to read the Wikipedia synopsis, whatever you want to call it, go ahead, But I encourage you all to watch it. Especially you single people, watch it. Watch it, because these are the people that you're probably meeting on these dating websites. You've been warned. That's on you. I'm not saying you deserve that. No. But that's on you. You need to always use wisdom when you are talking to anybody. I don't care how good looking they are. I don't care what they say they do for a living, how much money they have, what they drive. I do not care. You always need to use wisdom. With that said, I've been getting after everybody today, haven't I? Sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, but I think that's why my husband and I are still together, because not the estranged one, this one that I'm with right now. I've met him at the apartments where I used to live, and I've taken you all by there, unless I deleted that video, I don't remember. I've taken you all by there though, and I showed you like how I used to live upstairs and he lived downstairs. Only at the time I was dating somebody. I had somebody living with me actually, and he had somebody living with him. Things were not working out between him and his girl. My boyfriend, not husband, boyfriend, got deported. Somebody didn't like him, and they actually held him against his will and got him deported. And I know some of you are like, well, aren't you against that? Aren't you against illegal immigrants? Yeah, I am. However, at the time, I couldn't see it, right? We all make mistakes. I couldn't see it. And turns out he was cheating on me the entire time we were seeing each other, and he could have been using me, like my mom was telling me at the time when she was still alive, for citizenship. But I wouldn't listen because, you know, Moon makes her bad choices. We all know that already. We spoke about that before. But anyhow, so he gets deported. And meantime, downstairs, he's throwing his roommate out. He's like, you know what? You've already overstayed your welcome. I do not want a relationship with you. You need to leave. Well, the lady would not leave. So he ended up having to call the cops to remove her. So she finally left, you know, and she finally moved out. Now, I found out about that from my landlady. And I was like, oh, okay. And she brought it up to me. Okay, I didn't even ask her about it. So anytime I would get home from work, he would just always be outside. Like, all of a sudden, he would step outside his front door. He'd be there stretching, like, oh, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, huh? The hell do you want? And I would just keep walking. I would not pay him any attention, you all. Like, I was like that. I had that resting bitch face, and I would give it to him every time, you know? Well, he continued to do this for weeks. I'm not talking about days. I'm talking about weeks. Then he would be barbecuing downstairs. Because my husband, I'm not going to lie, is a very good barbecuer. He's really good at that. Anyway, he was barbecuing, and my sons and I, we had a ritual already. Every Friday we would get Subway, which is ironic because now my younger son works at Subway. Anyway, I would always pick up Subway for supper, right? So we had Subways. We were coming back, and he's out there, and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I said, oh, that smells good. And he's like, you want some? And I said, oh, you want to trade a sandwich for some barbecue? And he's like, no, you don't need to give me your sandwich. You want some? I'll give you a plate, unless you want to come down here and eat with me or whatever. And I was just like, no, I'm joking. I'm actually joking. I said, but you enjoy your night, enjoy your dinner, you know. And I would go back upstairs with my kids, and we would eat our sandwiches, right? And then, you know, after like months, I'm not kidding, months, I remember telling my coworker, may he rest in peace, I still dream about him. I dreamed about him not too long ago. I remember telling him, you know what, I think I'm going to give this guy a chance finally. He keeps trying to get my attention, and, you know, the pull is getting smaller, and I need to, like, not be so picky, I guess, anymore. I don't know. It's been so long. And yeah, I think I'm just going to say hello and just take it from there, right? Sure enough, I was getting home that day. I knocked on his door. He comes out right away and he sees me and he's like, oh, hey, and he was in the middle of cooking. And I was like, hi. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, I just wanted to say hi to you. I said, because you're always trying to talk to me, but I'm always like coming and going, with my kids, and I don't really have the time to talk. But today, I just got out of work, and, my children are with their dad for the weekend. Well, the little one is. The older one is out with a friend, and I just thought I'd stop by and say hello. And he's like, yeah, come on in. And I'm like, no. And he's like, no, it's all right, really. I'm cooking some shrimp. Come on in. And I was like, oh, you're making shrimp? And he's like, yeah, you want some? And I'm like, no, I'm good, thank you. And he's like, oh, come on, I made all this shrimp, and I have plenty of it. There's plenty. And that's one thing my husband always says that drives us nuts. There's plenty. Anyway, and so, no, I did not eat any shrimp with him. I just, he started giving me some CDs that he had and some movies that he had bought and trying to give me all this stuff. And I'm like, why is he giving me all this? I don't want this stuff, And I'm like, I'm just going to leave this right here. And if I ever want to borrow anything, I'll let you know, I'm going to go ahead and go back upstairs now. And not that I was getting weirded out or anything. It was just like, he threw me off with all that. Okay. One thing that did catch my attention, though, was a huge television that he had. And all I could think about is, imagine watching The Walking Dead on that. And that's what came out of my mouth. And he's like, you're welcome to come down here and watch it. And I was like, really? I said, it comes out on Sundays, Yeah, you can come down here and watch it. I was like, maybe I'll take you up on that. Well, sure enough, the next day, I did go down there. The next day was Sunday. I did go down there to watch it. And he was not in the least bit interested in it at all. He went to go watch TV in the bedroom. And I was just watching The Walking Dead on his TV in the living room. And I'm like, what, are we married now? Like, why is he in the bedroom and I'm watching this by myself? Clearly, we're not into the same show, but whatever. And the show was over, and I was like, okay, well, thanks for letting me watch. I guess I'm going to leave now. And he's like, oh, okay, well, like I said, you're welcome down here anytime, and you can watch that show. On Sundays, you can come down here, and, hey, look, did I show you that I have an exercise room over here? And you're like, I have this equipment over here. You can come down here and work out too. And I said, really? And he was like, yeah, I get off of work at this time. You can come at this time. We can work out together. And I was like, oh, okay. So I started going down there. After I would feed the kids and everything, of course, I would go down there and I would work out with him using the weights. It was really interesting at first. Really interesting. But anyway, we got to know each other. Eventually, we moved in together in a home that we rented because things there just got really weird. Like I said, there were two ladies that did not like me at all. And the landlady would hang out with them as well, and the landlady was never rude to me. I'll give her that much. She was never rude to me. But those two ladies were, and yeah, we just decided, let's just leave from here. We ended up moving back there years later, though, because the house thing didn't work out. We didn't have the money to buy it. The owner was ready to sell. So we had to get out. So we ended up moving back into those apartments. But by this point, 2 years had already passed by. 2 or 3, give or take, had already passed by. And so it wasn't as awkward to be around these people anymore, except for those two ladies. Like I said, they just never let it go. Like, they just kept on me, and we finally had to move out again because of them. But anyhow, that is how my husband and I got together, and we've been together since. Now, there were times that we did try to leave each other because he was driving me nuts, absolutely nuts. But we both talked about it, and we're like, yeah, like, I don't know why, but God, like, wants me to be with you, you know? And I said, I know. God first, you all. Trust him with that. He will not let you down. Now, is it going to be easy? No, because you're getting involved with another person, you know? But always put God first. Love you all. Thank you for listening. And I will talk to y'all again soon. Bye.